if the Steelers, would they, do you think, pounce on Baker if he were cut?
Oh, absolutely. A lot of teams would because of the salary cap number. The guaranteed money, the trade value, all that. They don't have to deal with that. That'll just be stuck with the with the Cleveland Browns. So Pittsburgh naturally would go to him and offer him whatever minimum salary because of the Cleveland Browns being able to absorb the rest of it. And you would do that. But Cleveland's not going to cut Baker Mayfield because they want to control where Baker Mayfield lands. Why would you send Baker Mayfield out and cut him and send him out there and he can go wherever he wants? He can go to Pittsburgh. He can go to Baltimore. He can go to Cincinnati. Now you sitting up there having to worry about what ifs. What if we have to face this dude and all of a sudden, he becomes a Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl champion, blah, 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 and we sitting here with Deshaun Watson and we can't get out of the first round. So you got to be, Cleveland is very careful as to how to get rid of Baker Mayfield.
Kid, don't you think Cleveland's going to have to swallow their pride, man? You're going to have to pay him to go away. So
he's already paid. Doesn't matter.
Well, I'm saying, like, in a trade, in order to get value back, like, absorb a portion of the salary and then say, okay, like, to a team like Seattle, hey, I'll absorb a portion of the salary. Give me a pick in return for that. And then this way you get something that's a little bit more low-hanging. It's not as cost-worthy to another team. I think that price mark kind of is something that deters other teams from making the calls because they're not going to give up the value that the Browns are going to want in return for that.
But as I know, Jay, you need two to tango, right?
Yeah.
And
that's what I'm saying. You have to make it sexy. You have to make it attractive for teams.
But the attraction is the fact that I don't want Baker Mayfield. You don't have a quarterback. You need Baker Mayfield. But much like Chris Mortensen said, Adam Schefter said the other day, is that I'll take on that salary, but you need to give me a draft pick to take on that salary in return with Baker Mayfield. I'm not just taking on Baker Mayfield with the salary.
So like really the equation is what do you think you're going to get for Baker? A second-round pick? Like, what do you get for him?
No, it doesn't. Give me something.
But my point is, once you pay his salary, let's say you got a third-round pick for him, okay? Is a third-round pick worth $18 million that you got to pay him? It's not. That's what Key is saying, I think. Right?
No,
like you're not going to. You're already paying him, so the money's gone. So in order to absorb that money, the only reason to do that is to get him out of your building, right? And to get some value in return. But that's not worth $18 million. That's not worth sending him to a rival and eating the $18 million.
I'm not saying for Pittsburgh.
If you think back to Brock Osweiler, I think that's right. Osweiler, the Houston Texans traded him to Cleveland because his salary was so ridiculous that they needed to get it off their books. They traded him in some draft picks, and they got the deal done. So Cleveland was like, cool, we absorbed the salary. We don't want the quarterback. We'll get rid of him. They wind up getting rid of him.
I want to back up. I want to back up, though, Key, because you said something like, I think Baker's better than most people think he is, right? But he's not very highly thought of, apparently. He can't get a job right now. So here's my question.
I think
it's all timing now too.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. It's leverage. He has value, man.
I think he does too. But my point is this: Jared Goff.
What type of value?
Right, first overall pick in the draft, Jared Goff went to a Super Bowl, went to 2 Pro Bowls, traded in the division, no one bats an eye.
Conference.
Okay, in the conference. Sorry, in the conference. Baker Mayfield, first overall pick. He ain't been in no Super Bowl. He ain't been in 2 Pro Bowls. So why do you care, Key, if he goes somewhere else? If he was good enough to worry about, you'd have kept him.
Well, I wanted to keep him, but something prettier came along, right? I mean, you and I walked through the parking lot at the grocery store, Max, and I was fine getting in the car and going home with you. Mm-hmm. But then I noticed something at Starbucks, so I got out of the car and wanted to just go have a conversation.
Not prettier than me.
And just wanted to have a conversation, Max.
Dude,
and that conversation went a certain way. I got back in the car with you. We drove home. I went back the next day to Starbucks and revisited that conversation again.
Right.
And then I eventually came back to you and said, you know what? I like what was at Starbucks.
What I'm looking for.
That's what happened with Baker. They wanted Baker. They would have kept Baker and played with Baker, right, Max? But Deshaun decided $230 million in Cleveland was in his plans, and Baker was on the streets.
This is what I don't understand. We have this conversation so many times in the show about kicking the can down the road. Like, you just paid Deshaun Watson the largest guaranteed contract in the history of the league. Now you're to absorb this if you want him to be gone, pay it.
Well,
pay it.
They're going to pay the contract. It's guaranteed. They've got to come to some sort of deal with a team that's willing to take him. Understood. Right now, there's only 2 teams, maybe 1, because I don't know that he's better than Sam Darnold. That I don't know when Sam is healthy and rolling with Christian McCaffrey. I do know that he's better than Drew Lock. That's what I do know. A lot of people had Sam Darnold rated higher than him, and they both came out in the same draft, and John Dorsey made the decision to take him in Cleveland. Baker Mayfield's best choice and decision should be to look for a veteran quarterback. Here's one for you, two for you. Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Indianapolis Colts to sit behind 2 veteran dudes that got a year or 2 left, kind of do the Ryan Tannehill, Jameis Winston, Mitch Trubisky, kind of do that kind of deal, Marcus Mariota, and then get a rebirth a year or 2 from now.
First of all, wait, there's so much there. Let's back up for a second. First of all, I love the idea of him going to Tampa. Say, like, what did Jameis need to do? Cut down on the turnovers. Understudy to Drew Brees, right? That'll help you, and it did. What does Baker need to do? Grow up, right? Sit behind Tom Brady. That'll help you, right? I love that. But I want to back up for a second, Key, because it seems to me, and I understand the Lions are no threat, and they're in the conference, not the division. But it seems to me what you're identifying in Baker is something in him that is dangerous if you trade him. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.